Camilla Townsend, and I'm a professor in the history department. I will be teaching Wars, Wayfarers, and the Wall, a history of the U.S. Mexican border. Wars, Wayfarers, and the Wall is a course about two elements that are braided together in different ways in all of our lives. One is the border itself, the line in the sand between two places. People pass back and forth, factories exist there, battles and wars unfold. The course will be the story of all the dramatic tension that has existed in and around that line. But we're also talking about a history of ideas about the border. So we're also talking about a history of attitudes and cultural assumptions about the other, about the neighbor, about America's place in the world. This course will be about problems, and it will be about solutions. And I believe, as an historian, of course, that to come up with a solution that will really work, you have to understand the problem and where the problem comes from. So that's why I want to move back not only one generation or two generations, but really to the inception of that border. I want to move back for a long time and begin at the beginning. In the course, I think students will see that what the border is has changed considerably over the 500 years of its existence. At first, the line between Europe or Europeans and Mexicans had to do with our, if I may say that, relationship to the Aztecs and to indigenous people who were fighting back. Later, the border was, in fact, around a much larger Mexico, a Mexico that stretched up into today's Oregon and Kansas, so that what the line was in this country was a border to be breached, to be crossed, to be conquered, with Euro-descended settlers forcing their way over that border. After the Mexican-American War, the border became what we think of it as being today. But it was a very peaceful border. Mexicans at that time were not at all interested in coming up here until our government during World War II started a program designed to sign up and bring Mexican men here as workers. Then what happened is that some of them stayed. They fell in love, had families, etc. And from that begins the chain migration, as we call it now, that is the center of the stress and tension that has existed in the past 30 years or so as we have developed various policies to deal with it. So what the border is will change dramatically over the course of the course. I am an historian, and this is a history class, so to some extent we will be reading articles by historians. We will read works of literature. One of my favorite novels, for example, Ramona by Helen Taunt Jackson. We will read best-selling works by journalists that have come out only recently. We will read Aztec poetry and Aztec songs in the earlier part. Later, we will read silly 19th century novels about the time at the border. But because the course is also about the real experiences at the border and around the border, we will also rely on social science. So we will be reading some statistics that are brought to us by economists, sociologists, etc. The experience of this course, I think, will be much richer because we are Rutgers. I will be teaching students from a wide variety of backgrounds with very different political points of view. And between all of us, I think we will be able to come up with a more complex truth. To my mind, a signature course must be about big issues, big ideas, issues that affect all of us to this day in one way or another, probably affect us each differently. This course is a signature course because it deals with the issue of one set of people imagining and dealing with, creating policies and ideas about their interactions with another group of people. And I would argue that that issue is at the heart of everything that we do in big ways or little ways as individuals and as nations.